Queen Jack offsuit top left, I think it's a pretty good spot to raise. Obviously wouldn't raise this without antes, but with antes, I think raising, as a steal with your Broadway hands is a good idea, even from middle position. And don't be afraid to steal earlier in tournaments either. It's all about risk reward. If you're risking 180 to win 200, you only need it to work a certain amount to make it a plus EV play. Flop middle pair, and Supernova Elite calls on the small blind and leads into me. Don't feel very good about this situation. I think his leading range here is pretty strong. Of course, he could have stuff like 7s or 6s, but I don't think this is the kind of texture he would lead. I think he'd be more likely to lead a lower texture. So I think here his range is stuff like Ace Queen or Ace 10, Ace Jack, Jack 10, Jack 9, and then flush draws, King Queen, and sets if he has those, and possibly aces if he decided to call that pre-flop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call once, and then if I don't improve, meaning if the turn is not a King, Queen, Jack, or maybe even a 5, because a 5 takes away takes away combinations of sets from him. If the turn is not one of those cards, then I'll probably be folding to more action. And even if the turn is a 5, I might even fold to more action. But the turn is a 6 of clubs, and that completes all the flush draws. So now I'm drawing dead against a fair amount of his range. So I think it's an easy fold. Even though he does have some open-enders and gut shots, I think overall against his range I'm not in very good shape, given that I'm probably drawing dead to about 30% of it, and against another good percentage of it I'm probably drawing slim. Maybe he has a King Jack suited or Ace King or aces, and against the rest of it he is drawing pretty live if he has like a gut shot and a club. Pocket 4s in the bottom left. Probably be playing this hand. It's going to be interesting now because a short stack raised, and when somebody min raises with 11 or 12 big blinds, it's often going to be a huge hand like kings, queens, aces, stuff like that. But I have seen tons of random things. I've seen people min raise fold these stacks all the time. Maybe this is like his last stand for min raising. I've seen people min raise call with all sorts of hands here and not show up with monsters. So I do have all three options here. I don't completely hate folding. Shoving has merit as long as I think it's possible that he folds some percentage of the time or has a wider value range than just big hands. And I don't completely hate calling either, given that I'm getting 4.5 to 1, and there is some money behind. So I'm not purely set mining. I'm not purely just stop and going. I'm basically calling and seeing what develops and basically going with the top X percentage of flops, kind of avoiding the really bad flops from my hand. So I actually opted to call. I thought it was the lower variance route than just shoving pre-flop. I wanted to see what the flop was before I put in more money. And 8-7-3 is probably about one of the top 20 to 25% of flops from my hand. Maybe even better than that. Maybe like top 15%. I wouldn't go that far. I think top 15% is basically hitting a set or hitting an open-ender. So I would say this is about top 20%, 25%. Maybe the next 5 or 10% is paired boards that aren't likely to hit him, like deuce, deuce, 7. But anyway, I think this is a really good board for me. And had the board been, I think, something like 10-8-3, I would have front bet all in, because I think that he would be less likely to c-bet it with like ace queen, ace king. But here I thought that since it's more likely to have like a Broadway hand, I thought he'd be more likely to c-bet it with like ace king and just c-bet call. So I went for a check raise rather than a stop and go. And he bet really, really tiny, and I don't know. I don't want to make a read based on his bet size, so I just put the money in. And unfortunately, he does show up with aces, which you're going to see quite a bit when people min raise. And I hope I take a note on that, because it's important to note when somebody does that. Even though, the player pools are massive in Sunday tournaments, if I had that note on him before, I might have saved myself some money. If I had that note on him already, I probably would have called and just played for set mining value, and maybe just called the flop because I was getting such good odds, or just check folded if he bet a normal size.